Okay, welcome. Finally, I can talk and no one's going to yell at me, tell me I'm on mute or anything like that. So it feels good to be in person. Good evening. My name's Bob McDougall. I'm the president of the Foothills Advocacy and Motion Society. We called the meeting for 7, so we'll get started. I'm getting a bit of feedback. Is that good? Okay, I'm going to chair the meeting, and Ms. Nancy Barton will act as the recording secretary. I'll ask Jerry to give a couple of introductions here at the start.
I thought you were going to lead us in a prayer, Jerry.
So my name is Jerry McCall, and I'm the Executive Director of the Foothills AIM Society. I'd like to thank all of you for attending tonight, and I'd like just to make some introductions of some guests here today. So first of all, I'd like to introduce the President of our Board of Directors, Bob McDougall, our Vice President, Mr. Bill Wilding, our Treasurer, Neil Wallace. I can't see anything when I look out because of these lights. So, our Secretary, Heather Good. And we have 4 directors of the FAIM Society. Mr. Neil Robertson was unable to attend today. Catherine Mills, David Stark, and Jan Mason. I'd also like to introduce the Society's auditors from Transcend LLP, and so I'd like to introduce Caitlin Kratchmer and Mitch Miller. So, Bob?
Okay. So before we proceed with the business of the meeting, I'd like to remind you that only full voting members in good standing with FAIMS, meaning that you've paid your society fees in the last 12 months, are entitled to vote on any resolutions coming before the meeting. So have all the membership received their green flag? Has anybody not that needs one? Okay, good. I've been informed that the annual general meeting has been properly called with due notice given to all members of the society. Therefore, I've been advised that quorum is present and the meeting is properly constituted to transact business. The minutes of the 2021 annual general meeting are available for inspection by the general members. However, in the interests of time, we shall dispense with the reading. Should any member wish to read them, would you please see Michelle Nordoff after the meeting? She's got a copy right there. May I have a motion adopting the minutes of the 2021 annual general meeting and taking them as read?
I make the motion to adopt the meeting minutes from the 2021 annual general meeting and take them as read.
Thank you. Can I have a seconder? Thank you. All those in favor, please vote with your card. Is there anybody against? The motion is carried unanimously. I shall now ask Caitlin Kratchmer from Transcend LLP Chartered Professional Accountants to present the 2021-22 FAIM Society Auditors Report. Caitlin.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. So I'm Caitlin Kratchmer from Transcend LLP. We were engaged to perform an audit for Foothills Advocacy in Motion for the financial statements year ended March 31st, 2022. Overall, we have issued a clean audit opinion in that nothing's come to our attention to believe that the financial statements would be materially misleading in any way. We make note in our audit report, as common with lots of not-for-profit organizations, and that we've made this note in prior years as well, just our surrounding cash transactions and fundraising, and that we can't be there for the occurrences of cash during your fundraising activities. So I'll just make a brief overview of the financial results. So this is from April 2021 to March 2022. PDD operating revenues come in at 6.3 million as contracted. Total revenues come in at 6.5 million. So this is slightly higher than the previous year, just about 6%. So that increase being seen in the PDD contract as well as in the sale of goods and services. So as we've seen the COVID restrictions lighten up here, we've been able to get back out there. So that's great. Going over to expenditures, total expenditures are 6.3 million. So the first 4 lines there, direct support, respite, supervisory administration, that's all payroll, so that's about 5.7 million. And total increases, then we have after that is the eligible operating expenses, 569, and then the ineligible is 75,000. So that's overall increase from the last year before that of 10%, that mostly being seen in payroll costs specifically, and some in eligible expenses in service delivery and such. So overall, the society is left with an excess of revenues over expenditures, about 180,000. Overall, another great year for FAIMS. The financial position of the company is still strong. The current assets more than cover current liabilities. There is some donations coming in regarding the capital campaign going on, so that's not being recognized into revenue until there is an actual capital expenditure or future expansion in the future. So the board has done a great job of their oversight. Management has processes, controls in place that's overall just done a very good job. And with that, I'd just like to thank Anne and Michelle, Jerry, the board for all their help throughout the audit. If there's any questions, I can take them now, or Jerry has my email and my contact information if anything comes up afterwards that you think of. I can answer them then. I think that's it. Thanks.
Caitlin, you have. Anyway, I need a motion to accept the 2021-2022 auditor's report as presented by Transcend LLP.
I'll make a motion to accept the 2021-22 auditor's report as presented by Transcend LLP.
Thank you. And a seconder? Thank you. All those in favor? Anybody against? The motion's carried unanimously. We'll be able to carry out the future business of the AGM, and I want to thank Caitlin and her team for Transcend for an excuser for the meeting, for the rest of the business meeting. So now come to the election of directors for the 2022-2023 term. FAIM's directors are elected to serve as directors for one-year terms with eligibility for re-election upon the expiration of such terms. As such, current directors Bob McDougall, Bill Wilding, Ken Robertson, Heather Good, Neil Wallace, Catherine Mills, David Stark, and Jan Mason are standing for nomination as directors of the Foothills Advocacy in Motion. Are there any further nominations from the floor? There are none. May I have a motion to elect these 8 individuals as directors for FAIM for the 2022-2023 term?
I'd like to make a motion to nominate these 8 individuals as directors for FAIM for 2022-2023 year.
Thank you. And a seconder? Thank you. All those in favor? Okay. Anybody against? The motion is carried unanimously. I now declare that Bob McDougall, Bill Wilding, Ken Robertson, Heather Good, Neil Wallace, Catherine Mills, David Stark, and Jan Mason have been elected as directors of FAIMS until their successors have been elected or appointed. We now come to the appointment of the Society's auditors for the forthcoming year. May I have a motion to reappoint Transcend LLP Chartered Professional Accountants as the Society's designated auditor?
I will make a motion to nominate Transcend LLP Professional Chartered Accountants for 2022-2023 year as the Society's designated auditor.
Thank you. Seconder? Thank you. All those in favor? Anybody against? The motion is carried unanimously. I now declare Transcend LLP Chartered Professional Accountants as the designated auditors for the Foothills Advocacy and Motion Society for the 2022-2023 fiscal year. I'll now call on Jerry McCallum, the Executive Director, to introduce the proposed budget for the 2022-2023 year.
Thanks, Bob. There was one year that I was actually so nervous I forgot to do this part. As Caitlin shared the expenses that we had and the revenue from this past year, you can see from our the proposed budget that we have here as 7.7 million is about. We're anticipating an increase in our budget of about $1 million this year. And so you may say, well, where does that come from? But that really points to how we've grown over this year and looking at those services that we plan on delivering to the full extent for this year. So I'm just maybe just scroll up or down. Just go down. Good. Keep going. So we are looking at PDD operation of about 7.4 million. Sales of goods and services, and what that is that's when any of our people work in a job, and that employer pays FAIM, and then we pay that out to people. So a good example is the recycling program in High River, where we collect recycling money and then pay that out to the people that do the work. We also have fundraising and donations. Caitlin mentioned about our capital campaign. I'll talk about that in length when I do my executive director presentation. And we have some other revenue there. So if you want to scroll down, Bob. So with our estimate for expenditures, you'll see they're broken down in the expense categories of direct service, residential, supervisory, and admin. And as Caitlin said, about 90%, maybe even a bit more, of our government revenue goes to pay salary and wages. So that's the biggest part of our budget. And so we're anticipating a profit loss of about $50,000 this year. So that's my my budget.
Okay, can I get a motion to accept the 2022-2023 budget as presented by Jerry?
I'll make a motion to accept the 2022-23 budget as presented by the FAIM Executive Director, Jerry McCallum.
Can I have a seconder? Thank you. All those in favor? Anybody against? The motion's carried unanimously. Now I now declare the approval of the 2022-2023 Foothills Advocacy and Motion Society budget accepted. So we've reached the end of the formal portion of the AGM. Good work. So we have two other things. Jerry's going to make some comments. I wanted to make a couple of comments on a couple of things that are happening with our board, or priorities, I guess, for our board. I wanted to update people first on the results of the Creating Excellence Together survey. So what happens is every 3 years, an organization called the Alberta Council of Disability Services asks that the society be audited. And it's an independent audit, and it allows them to basically operate for the following 3 years. So they come in and they audit to make sure that the program is being operated as expected. And we completed our audit late in 2021, and we were informed in January that for the second time in a row that FAIM achieved 100% on the audit results, which I think is real. This doesn't happen by accident. I think it's the result of a lot of really good work by the management team, and under some really unprecedented kind of times and disruptions to, both. Yeah. Well done. So, that was a tremendous result. I think, we want to congratulate management on the great performance, and it was something the board was really happy to kind of see. One issue the CET survey did mention was that the society, had not conducted a strategy session since 2019. Now, typically we do this once a year, where we get the FAIM senior management team together and we get the board together, and we usually take a Saturday and we go somewhere quiet and we hash out a bunch of things and take a look at what we think is a strategic plan for the society for the next usually 3 to 5 years. Well, we did plan the 2021 and 2020 strategy session, but we canceled it. And we actually did plan, I think, 2021 strategy session for the spring of 2021, and then we kind of delayed it till the fall, and we ended up canceling that. It's kind of something you want to do in person, and with everything going on, we just weren't able to get everybody together in person. But we did hold the strategic review a couple of weeks ago. All 8 board members were present. We had all members of the FAIM senior management team. We had a series of presentations that were made by management on a variety of topics, and I'll tell you what they were. And there was lots of time for discussion. I don't think we made a ton of decisions that day, but I think we kind of planted the seeds to kind of address some issues that need to be addressed, in that kind of 3 to 5 year time frame. So I wanted to talk about what we discussed. So the first thing was we did a 5-year financial forecast for the society. And, we spent a bit of time talking about what assumptions we were made to kind of build that, and, and hash that out pretty good. But I think what the plan showed was continued strong growth for the society, and it also showed real strong financial performance for the society. The second thing we did was we reviewed the society's mission, vision, and core values. It's probably time to do that because I think it had been over 10 years since we had looked at it, since that's changed for the society. And there's nothing wrong with it, but in those 10 years, some things did change. And so we made some tweaks. We're recommending some tweaks to reflect the changes over the past 10 years. And we expect to finalize the product for distribution before the end of the year. We also had a great discussion on the type of growth we should expect for the future. And the expected growth both in Okotoks and Strathmore will push our capacity limits for the facilities in both of those towns. So the long-term plan is to get a bigger facility. But in the short term, both Okotoks and Strathmore are going to have to get creative to manage the flow of staff and clients in and out of those buildings until we can find a more long-term solution. We had a really good discussion on what I call, or what Jerry calls, emergency respite capacity for the operations. Now, this is an issue that's kind of been coming up, especially lately, where we have to be able to access respite for clients with little or no notice. And I think it's been a huge challenge. So we discussed a number of what I would call creative solutions for this. And we need to do some more work, but I do think we need to understand the different options, and I do think we'll have a solution for this in the future. We also discussed the feasibility to enhance senior care capability within FAIMS. The reality is our clients are aging, and this will mean a different type of care will be required in the future. What we learned was this issue exists for many people outside of the FAIMS organization, and that families and organizations have started to create solutions that are not your typical solutions. We've got a lot of work to do to understand things like how we'd fund it, how we'd staff it, but also I think we owe it to our clients to fully understand what these other organizations are doing differently to address similar issues. Last we revisited an option to open an office in Airdrie. Now we pitched the government 3+ years ago to open an office in Airdrie to meet a pretty large need in that community. And quite honestly, our timing couldn't have been worse. You know, the economy was in bad shape, and the government said no to our proposal. Now the need hasn't changed in Airdrie, but quite honestly, the timing for FAIMS to do this now isn't great. We're just like any other business in this province, we're struggling to attract and retain good quality staff. So this is something that we'll continue to discuss. I think it's on our agenda for our September board meeting, and we'll keep you apprised of that. The last thing I want to talk about is what I call board membership. And so just at a high level, the main function of your board of directors is governance and oversight for the society's policies that guide everything that management kind of does. You know, we do a couple other things, but in a nutshell, we're supposed to provide knowledgeable, constructive, independent oversight. To do this, we look for board members who have a variety of skills and experience, and we lean on their skills and experience from time to time to help make the board make good decisions. We actually have a skills matrix with a list of all of the skills that we think we need in our board. It's kind of like a shopping list. I'll give you an example. One of the things we have on that list is that our board should have somebody with a legal background. You know, and yes, we do allow lawyers on our board of directors. Correct, David? Yeah.
Please, sir, can I have some?
I just bringing this up now because in my 10 years with the society, this is the first time I think that we've ticked all the boxes on that skills matrix. You know, and we've worked at it for a number of years. My point is your board's highly skilled, they perform at a really high level, and you should feel confident that they're in their collective ability to do their job. And I want to thank them for volunteering their time and their talents over the past year, and I look forward to working with them in the future. I want to call on Jerry now to talk about the operations. Thanks.
Thanks, Bob. I'm going to have to just pop back and forth to click a slide on here, but I want to thank you again, all of you, for attending this annual general meeting of the FAIM Society. I know that we're all busy in our lives, and so that you took the time out to see to this for our society is important to me, and I thank you. I know that you don't want to hear the most popular word in the world over these last 2 years, so I'm not going to say that word. However, in this part of the AGM, I'm asked to recap our previous year. So collectively and individually, all of us have experienced opportunities to learn and to grow this past year. We've been able to learn new ways of doing things, and we've been asked to do things differently. This is true for all of you, and it's true for all of us at FAIM. So we have learned to be more creative in how we deliver services. The people we support have learned new and creative ways to receive supports. We have all learned to maybe to be a bit safer in our lives. And I believe that we are, as a group, more compassionate, and we are more patient. And I feel that we're all better for it. So during this past year, we did have some individuals that we support choose to leave FAIM. We've also lost some staff, some care providers, and people in management as well. And and this is too bad. I'm sorry to see those people leave. But that's what life is. Life is changing, and that does happen. We've also had many new people come to FAIM in a variety of roles, including we've had a new board member join this year. So our current situation at FAIM, as of now, all systems are go. We are wide open. We are delivering supports and programs to almost everybody that we currently supported in the past, with the exception of maybe one or two people, but our systems are wide open. I just want to show an interesting slide to you. It's this on your bottom of the word. Maybe you scroll up a bit. So I just thought it'd be interesting to see some numbers. So I'll just I like to sort of ground numbers back to, so when I started here 2002, 20 years ago, we just had the High River branch, and we supported about 42 to 43 people in High River. And then in 2016 is when I became executive director. We supported 89 people. So in those 14 years, FAIM doubled our services. And in the last 6 years, we have grown about 60 individuals. And so, you know, like as Bob said, and Caitlin mentioned too, like, you know, there's interest in FAIM, and FAIM is growing. And we predict, or we are making the case that we will continue to see this growth. So in the last 6 years, we've grown by about 10 people per year. You'll see there are numbers of staff, care providers and respite providers, and management and supervisory. So I just wanted to show the membership, those numbers. You can pull that down, Bob. We have noticed of late, though, that we aren't getting the amount of people approaching FAIM to become care providers or employees. And that's curious. You know, I think Alberta's experiencing that as well. It's getting tougher to find quality people. And so you may have even seen notices up on our FAIM social media, or, you know, different notices here or there. And why I'm saying that to you, bringing it up tonight, is that, and I've said this to the different staff groups, you know, you may know people in your circle of friends or your acquaintances that you think, gee, you know, this person would be good at being a care provider or an employee. So I just ask you to, you know, in the next few days, go through your list of friends that you have or people that you know, because there may be one or two people out there that would be great for the individuals we support, and we need them. I do want to recognize some people at FAIM who have allowed our operations to run smoothly. I'm just going to talk by department. So I want to thank our managers and supervisors. Many of you are here today. Could you raise your hands? I'd like to thank our administration employees. So I know all three of you are here today. I'd like to thank our frontline staff, and there's a couple of you here today, so thank you for coming out tonight, and thank you for the work that you do on behalf of all your colleagues. I'd also like to thank our care providers and respite providers. I did mention this last year that, you know, through these last couple of years, our care providers especially have really stepped up and offered great support, so thank you to all of them. Most of all, thank you to the people that we support at FAIM. I know a couple of you are here today. Thank you for coming to FAIM, to allowing us to play a role in your lives. Thank you to all of you. So as we look forward to 2022-23, Bob mentioned, you know, we're experiencing a lot of growth, and it's putting pressure on our current infrastructure and our current facilities, especially in Okotoks and in Strathmore. So our board of directors has approved and supported the creation of a FAIM capital campaign. And the purpose of this is to obtain capital to allow us to purchase either newer buildings for FAIM or perhaps bigger buildings that we can offer support to people, and especially these two branches. It's interesting, we have the biggest building here in our High River branch, but curiously we're not getting the people in High River coming. We have a little bit of intake, but not like in the other two branches. Membership may not know, but we currently own this building free and clear, as well as the one in Okotoks. And this really sets us up well to look for some expansion. So a few months ago, and even probably starting last summer, we created a video as sort of the way to launch our capital campaign. And I just wanted to show that video to you tonight. It's about 5 minutes. It's this one here. My name is Jerry McCollum, and I'm the Executive Director of the Foothills Advocacy and Motion Society.
I'm Brad Fowler, and I have the privilege of being the Employment and Day Services Manager in the Okotoks branch of Foothills Advocacy in Motion.
These past 41 years has seen our agency grow, adapt, and change. Currently, we support 145 individuals and their families in these 3 communities and surrounding area. FAIM supports adults with developmental disabilities to live and work in the communities of High River, Okotoks, and Strathmore and surrounding areas.
Foothills Advocacy in Motion first started in High River, and as word got out about the quality of the program, there started to be a demand in other areas of the community. And so in order to meet the demands of the surrounding communities, FAIM's in High River rented a church space in Okotoks to provide support to people.
Hi, my name is Bev Ropel. I run the day program for the FAIM Society in Strathmore.
Hi, my name is Nicola Hamilton, and I am a supported home living provider.
My name is Lisa Hudson. I am the team leader for the Okotoks branch.
Hi, I'm Tara Wainwright. I'm the home living manager for the Strathmore branch.
I'm Maureen Nordley. I am the team leader of the Employment and Day program for the FAIM branch in High River.
FAIM stands for Foothills Advocacy and Motion Society, and we advocate for individuals in our community with a developmental disability. So they have meaningful programs, whether it's employment preparation, community access, or just getting out and meeting everybody in the community and getting socially connected.
I work with adults with disabilities. I find residential and respite homes for them. And I also work with independent individuals who live on their own. And I have outreach staff that go into their home and help support them.
We opened up our branch officially in 2005, and I became manager in 2007. At that time, we supported 13 people in the community of Okotoks with 11 staff. Fast forward to today.
We support around 60 wonderful individuals, all with developmental disabilities. We have a lot of our clients that work. We have volunteer opportunities, and we also have some what we call community access opportunities.
We have moved 4 times within the community of Okotoks because we've outgrown our space, and that continues to be an issue for us. There continues to be a demand for services in the Okotoks branch. We are actually the largest branch that FAIM has right now, and it is really important to us, to our board of directors, to the management team, that we don't turn families away because we don't have space for new individuals, and so that is our challenge.
We do our recycling routes. We volunteer for Food for Thought, providing lunches for our school kids. We volunteer at various churches within the community.
It was a positive experience because they accepted them for who they were and didn't try to change their behaviors within the community.
So we are pretty shoulder to shoulder when everybody comes in. It's a very busy environment, and so we need extra capacity to obviously expand our programs and our services that we can provide. I think we would like to do more on-site skill building and development, so having another building would be really beneficial, and the more space we have, the more we can have people come into our program and provide more opportunities for them.
So as it sits right now, we access churches in the community to have a bigger program, and or we do programs outside of our branch.
I ask that you consider partnering with FAIM as we meet the challenges of the future. Your contributions to our agency will assist us to offer supports to the people we currently work with and those looking for supports in the future.
You can help us achieve our dreams.
Join our story for a great cause.
It starts with you.
There we go. So it's interesting, with the exception of the first guy that was talking in that video, the acting was incredible. But even when you make a video and just watching that, there's 2 or 3 people that have either changed jobs or aren't here. So it comes out of date almost. You're still here. Yeah. But so we're going to, when people say, gee, what do you do? What's FAIM about? We wanted to have something that showed people what we're about, because we all know what we're about. Many people don't, and I've always said that we at FAIM have a great message, except we're not great at sharing that message. So this is sort of our first step into, a substantial capital campaign to sort of meet with some of the big donors that we can, get some funds. So just to finish up here, I'd like to thank a few people who helped make this meeting happen tonight. So Michelle, Ann, Elisa, Tim, and Denise from the High River branch, thanks so much for all your setting up and this. So thanks very much, all of you. So we are live streaming this event on YouTube tonight for those people that didn't get it. So I'm really curious how many people tuned in tonight. So I want to thank Dave Otten from Affinity Digital Design for taping this live streaming. Thanks, Dave. I realize that McDougall and myself might need an agent after this presentation, so maybe you can help us out with that too. So I would like to thank our FAIM Board of Directors for all of the work that you do behind the scenes. Most of it goes unseen, including coming here today, and I just really want to thank the board for all that you do. And I want to thank all of you for coming here tonight, for participating, especially all those motions. Rosemary, thank you for those. And all of you that are joining in live streaming, thank you. So that's the end of the meeting. The board members and I will have a brief meeting in the room over there, but the rest of you, please, I invite you to stay and enjoy some refreshments, because we have a whole bunch of them, and thanks again.
Someone left the key fob on the table there. Is anybody missing it?
Thank you.
Can I stop?